Torah Or, Parshas Vayechi, page Mem Hey, second column. We did not finish the paragraph yet, so we are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines to the top of Vayechi, second column. Okay, now the Rebbe was explaining that when Leah said, Apam oidas Hashem, which means now I can thank Hashem. So down here where there's time and place, it is now and not before, not later. But Lamaila, it's above time and place, and everything in Torah is up there. So it doesn't mean Apam oidas Hashem, doesn't mean now and not before, but it means after, now that Reuven, Shimon, and Levi were born, so now I can have come to the level of Hodah of Bittul, and thanking in Bittul. So now the Rebbe started explaining the whole level of Re'iyah, Reuben. And he said that's the level of Ava. And that is the hisbaininess of davening, and the Shema Yisrael Shalom Ken Hashem Echad, 7 heavens, earth, 7 the 4 corners of the world, they're all bottled to the Aleph. And then you come to the second pasuk, Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Le'olam Vod. So he says, this is the pasuk that says, B'chol levacha b'shnei yitzirecha, which means that's the level of tshuva. He says tshuva doesn't mean for sins. Tshuva means returning the nefesh to a higher level of elokus, which is that even the nefesh habamis also wants elokus. This is where we're up to now. So he said, V'zeu kiro Hashem ba'ani, what Leah said is, Apam eidas Hashem, kiro Hashem ba'ani, Hashem saw my affliction, ki ato yehavani ishi. Now my husband's going to like me. Pirush shayidei anya merudi. By through the level of oppression, bittul, merirus shebenefesh, the bitterness of the soul, shebesirus, the l'sat, awakening from below, meaning Leah represents Klal Yisrael. Ishi, my husband, represents Hashem. She says, now, through the level of Ani, through the level of Merirus, do we come to have a connection of Sarusa de Leila awakening from above, or Kamayim upon him, Yisrin Ur Bechinas Riyah, through the Yisrin Ur, the greatness of light in the Riyah Milmaila Lamata, now Kiavani Ishi. Because now my husband is going to like me, meaning Hashem is going to reciprocate this level of Ava that I have to him. In other words, through the level of Hashem ba'anyi, through this that Hashem saw my affliction. That now the Rebbe said doesn't mean affliction, suffering. It means merita's bitterness of the soul. That it's longing to be closer to Hashem, to the husband. That's Leah wanted to be closer to Yaakov simply. Because Rachel was number 1, she was number 2. So in a spiritual sense, Leah represents the neshama of Yid. He wants to have this longing to be close to the husband, to Hashem. And he says, like it says, Bayemel Tikruli Ishi. Pirush, what does Ishi mean? My Eish. Ishi means simply my husband. But Ishi means Eish Shali Mamish, my fire, which is the level of Ava. Ava is burning love. Haino, which means Achul Koshemimata Lamaila, the desire and the longing from below higher, into the level like it says in the pasuk. Val Ishech Shukasech. So it's interesting. This happened after Chet Tzadas. Hashem punished Chava and said, Alishech Shukasech. You're going to want your husband. But Chassidus explains, Alishech Shukasech, because of the Chet Tzadas, the Yerida that happened in the world. So now that there's this, like you said, the Ani, the Merirus, there's going to be a longing to become closer to Hashem. Like we learned yesterday, when you're far away from Hashem, that's when you have the longing to Hashem. Like you said, that's the concept of Baal Tshuva. The neshama having this longing to go up to Hashem. Sho'ei shali, tiya b'skalus be'erin tzal baruch hu mamish. That my love of Hashem should be united with the level of Elokus. Ad sheyehu ishi ei shali mamish. That it's mine, meaning I become so one with Hashem that it's my fire. It's ours. Give him meaning to chapkein in a level because his right hand hugs me. B'chinat chibuk v'hiskalulus. Shlias Gili Ernta Baruch Hu Mamashal Nafshi B'Tshukazu. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining what is the level of Reuven. The level of Reuven is the Ava, the Serutza, the Lusata, the Ava that a Jew has to Hashem, in a way of the longing because of Ani, because of my affliction, or he says the Tzimorin of Tshuva, the Nefesh wants to become closer to Hashem, and then it becomes Ishi, that it becomes mine. Excuse me. Okay. Once we say it, and when you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu, it means He's ours, not somebody else's. He's ours. The Chassidus was speaking about when you say Adoneinu, Mereinu, V'Rabbeinu. It's like a term. My Adoneinu, my Mereinu, my Rabbeinu. It's mine. It become one with it. If you don't become one with it, it's not yours. Something is yours when you own it. You own it means it becomes one with you. So this is the first parsha of Krishma. It says, the level of tshuva, momata l'mayla, to have this awakening of ani. Even a tzaddik feels very far away from Hashem because he's in a guf and of shabamis in the world and so on. What did you want?
What is the level of Re'iyah?
Re'iyah is, like you said, Re'iyah is Aryeh, the letters. Aryeh is on the right side of the Merkava. That's the level of, it's also the level of Yira, but anyway, but it's the level of Ava. Re'iyah, you become one with the thing you see. Not like Shmiya. Remember we said, the Rebbe brings this out with the halacha. There's a din in the Gemara, Ein Eid Nasadayim. By capital punishment, a witness cannot be the judge. That means if Bezin saw murder, they cannot judge the person. Why not? What's better than that? Because they're not going to be objective. Because when you see something, you become one with it. Right? What does Ava mean? You become one with the thing you love. That's what he said, Ava equals 13, which is the Gematria of Echad. Okay, so he says now, this is the first parsha of Krishma, which is the level of Ratzu. Like he said, the Tshuka and the desire to become one with Hashem. But the parsha Shniya b'Sheba Krishma, but the second parsha of Krishma is a level of Shimon, like it starts off, Im Shamaya Tishmu. Yeah, you're going to hear it. What is Shmiya? It doesn't mean hear, it means understanding. This is the level of shuv, of coming back down. Riyah is bikorev, hainu bechinas avo, that comes from closeness, but shmiya merachek, and that causes the level of yira. Fear, love is when you're close to it. Fear is on the contrary, when the thing is remote, like a king. He's far away from you, he's removed from you, that's why you fear him. Somebody you're close to, you don't have fear of. You're close to them, they have ava. You have ava. Fear means of their loftiness, so you're not close to them, you're distant from them. And that's the level of shmiya. Shmiya don't become one with the thing you hear. Therefore, when I hear, I understand something, I could be disproved that it's not true. Like it says, Hashem, Shemaiti, Shemacha, Yeresi. Hashem, I heard your hearing, and I had Yira, Yira b'mach mesrichuk. Yira comes from the level of Richuk, that's the level of Smil Deichem. Yemin Mekareves, that's the level of Avo, and Smil Deicha, that's the level of pushing back down. So he says the first Reuven is a level of Ratzu, the longing, and Shimon is a level of distance, Shuv. What's the level of Yira? Yira is you're lowering yourself, to say to yourself, who am I to become close to Hashem? That's what fear is. Fear is awe. Awe means you realize you're in a completely different level than you. If they're on your level, you don't have yira. Yira, you're afraid of something, awe. Again, not fear, the fear like lightning coming down. But fear and awe means you realize the reimimus, the exaltness, the remoteness of it, and that's what causes you to fear. As I tipple all of yira v'facha belibi. Then you get the level of yira and pachad. Yira, by the way, pachad is sudden fear. Like all of a sudden you bump, all of a sudden you get scared. Yira is a premeditated form of fear. Like it says, Vayadam, Vayunu, Vayamdu Mirachik. By Matan Torah it says they saw this great, and they stood away. Why? Shebeshvil Vayunu, because he trembled. Shnof lalem aim of a pachad. Therefore, Lefikach Vayamdu Mirachik. The level of Shmiya, like it says, Imrat Slibcha Shuv Le'echad. Okay? So Reuven is a level of Ava, longing, Mamata Lamaila. Shimon is a level of Yira, Mirachik, which is a level of Shuv. You're pushed away distant. Like it says, is the level of Yira. Where do we see this? Because the first Pasha says, V'yahavta Seshem Alakecha. What does it say in the second Pasha? Hishamru lochem pen yift. I'm warning you, don't turn away from Hashem. That's the warning of Yira. That's what Leah said. Now Hashem heard that I'm hated. Hated is mamash, the opposite of love. Reuven is a ki'ato yehavani ishi. Level of Ava, momato lamalu rotsu. This is ki snua nechi, nivze ve'enev nimus, meaning I'll be despicable in his eyes. Shaidei is a rosa de lasata. Through the Aveda, momata machshe'em nech shebeinav l'snua. Aidei smel deicha, then you have lias serusa de la'ela. Hishama Hashem heard the level of Shmir Merachik to bring the level of Yira Mamayla. Again, Dal Tereb over here is explaining why Leah said, Hapam, now that, not in time, because Lomayla there's no time, right? So what does Hapam mean? Now that I have the Aveda of Reuven and Shimon and Levi, now I can come, not now, not tomorrow. After you have the level of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, now I can come to the level of Hidah. So he says Reuven is a level of Ava, Shimon is a level of Yir, Levi didn't get to yet. But you have these two levels. Okay, skip the parentheses. After Krishma we say Em is V'yatzav v'nechmed v'noim v'neira. Right? Then we come also to the level of Neira. Ki adav azal leinu, that's the level of Levi. Yilave ishi elai, my husband will accompany me. Levia means accompaniment. That's also a form of connection. What does it mean? That's the combination of yamin and small. In other words, Reuven is Ava, right side, Shimon is the left side, and Levi is the middle. You love it means accompaniment of both levels together. What causes the elevation of the head. So what does Levi do? Like he says, there's a connection between Yamin and Small. That's Levi. When you put, like Tiferes, you put both together. That's why Levi's the third kid. The third one is Tiferes. And that's, he says, you love Ishi, which refers to which is super high. Tiferes is a level of super high, right? All the way up. Elishin is slab, Shebedvarim Gashmi coming into physical things. L'chein nimshoter l'lamayim. Sheyod yemimakim gavaya from a high place to a low place. So Levi is a combination of Riyah and Shmiya together. What's the avodah of Levi? Realizing I'm really not fit I'm really not fit to have this level. He says, really, I'm not fit for it. But because of Hashem, really, I'm not fit for it. But this is Hashem's chesed. Hashem's chesed that He brings it down. It's like the Pasuk said, "Miyalev Hashem." The Rebbe Marash called him a chassid once, and he told him he wants him to be a sheikhet. He told the story. He wants to be a sheikhet. See, sheikhet, it says in Chassidus Sfarim, the most Yiras Shamayim Rav is supposed to have, and the second is a sheikhet. Okay, because he had the kashrus of all the. So the guy said to Rebbe Marash, "I'm not fit to be a sheikhet." So Rabbi Marash said to him, who should I take? Somebody who thinks he's fit? You want to take somebody who thinks he's great? That's not what I want. I don't want that. And that's, he says, lady. The guy says, from one side, how can I come to become close? He said, but Hashem does it anyway. Hashem wants it. This yichud between the Jew and Hashem comes back down lamata, kamei lamayla, v'ila zeis, and therefore aydei eisek ha-teira, through the level of teira, yochel lahamchich erintzal baruch hu mamish lamata al nafshi, you're able to bring down elokus. So there he says Levi. That's why Levi was a Rosh Yeshiva in Mitzrayim. Levi is in Lim Teira. Yeru mishpatach Yaakov. Levi was told. But Moshe Rabbeinu got Torah. So there's Aveda Mamata Lamaila. There's Aveda Mamaila Lamata, Reuven and Shimon. Yeah, Rotzu and Shuv. And then you have the level of the Levi Torah. Because you say, Adover Azeh Leila. Right? Adover Azeh. What's Adover Azeh? It means Torah. Meaning, that even at the level of Shuv, which is Aved of Shimon, that means my husband will come to me. That's the third level that Elokus comes down. And that's Emes V'yatz. Shemarichem, that you, in fact it says in Chassidus, there's 15 vovs. V'yatzev, v'nochem, v'kayam, v'yoshev. Now Chassidus explains the level of 15 vovs. But here he's speaking about the hamshochem u'mayla lamata. Shemarichem, what we lengthen with all the 15, v'yatzes of the vovs. V'ashel kaimes adavar azel leinu v'al v'seinu. To bring it for Aviseinu Aleinu, Arishem Mamshich and Milmaila, Emes v'yatzev v'nochem, v'nechmed v'noim, Liesam Shachos Erintzal Baruch Hu Sheinim is Galaber Atena. So this is the various different levels of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Yeah? What? I don't remember. It says there's 15 verbs, no? Yudke, what? Yudke. What it means, being down this level of a course, is the joint effort of the first parsha and second parsha. Then you say Emes v'yatzev v'nochem kam v'yoshev. Emes is the level of Tiferes. Emes is not part of Krishma. In Chumash it says Hashem Elokeichem. Emes is not part of the pasuk in Shema. Emes v'yatzev v'nochem. So Emes is the level of Levi, Tiferes, the third level that combines Reuven and Shimon. Achine, Kol, Bechinas Anal. The Gimel, Bechinas Anal, these three levels are still Memale Kol Almin, which is a level, Amshach, is Meitzah Baruch Hu Bechinas Memale Kol Almin. Shebechinas Reuven U'Le'eder So'ava. Reuven's Avodah is to awaken Ava, Lias Nichsef, Gam Kol Senafshi, by Sol Shadlong. Like he said, Reuven is a longing, the rotz of Ava, that he wants to become one with Hashem. בכלל שהיא עדיין אינה כלויה מיוחדת באמצע ברוך הסבב כולם. The fact that the person wants to become close to Hashem means he's not there yet. So he's not Seviv Kolam. Seviv Kolam is mak if you're there already. There's no top and bottom. If you're there, you're there. Like he said, B'shmaim was B'cha Kol Shava Beruch Nitze Gashim Kol Kamei Kol Choshem. Because what do we say? Hol Keinu Einei B'Shemayim Mimal Ruchnias V'Haaretz Mitachas Einei. That means that level is Seviv and Mamala all the same. Shemayim Mimal Einei. In Mamala it's Einei. Seviv it's Einei. Al derech za shar bechinas elu shem bechinas hamshachas is mamala kolam. So all this Reuven, Shimon, Levi is all the level of mamala kolam. Ava, Yira, Rotza, Sheiv, Teira, it's all mamala kolam. Now comes Yehuda, which is Bittul, which is a much higher level. Ava bechin is Yedur Shuhada, which is submission. Which is bit of his kalas burns of Baruch Hu Mamash Yosev Kol Almin. Ve'hein ein bechinis ishtachavoy shebetfilah Shmon Esrei. Yehuda is the level of Shmon Esrei. What Shmon Esrei? Bittul, you bow. You don't bow by any other part of davening. You bow by Shmon Esrei. Shmon Esrei, you stand feet together, no movements, complete bittul. That's the level of Yehuda. So how can you come to Shemon Esrei? First you need Reuven, and then Shimon, first Pasha, second Pasha, Emez v'Yatziv. Now I can come to Shemon Esrei. The Amida. No. It's a little... Here you bow your knees, bend down your head. I mean, there you bend down a little. It's not the same thing. In fact, it's interesting. We're learning the other Maimer. The Alter Rebbe doesn't say it, but the Rebbe says it in the Maimer that when he said Bi Adeni, Yoda came to Yosef because Yosef is higher, and he said Bi Adeni. He wanted to bring down the level of Yosef into him. So it said B is Yud Beis. Those are the 12 brachas of Shemon Esrei. To bring down that level of B Adeni, bring into me B the level of Yud Beis brachas of Shemon Esrei. Okay, so he says, Lochein tfili belachash. Therefore, Shemon Esrei is said quietly. You're not allowed to say it Shemon Esrei. Even if you're davening alone, you don't say. So logically, we're learning out from Chana, because Chana daf Torah on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Chana was davening to Hashem and so on. Which is ein the begader amshach v'ashpah klal. Because for there's no avoid of the Jew. It's all bittul. There's no ava. There's no yira. There's bittul. That's the level of Shemon Ava Klal. It's not even called Ava, it's completely bittul b'metzias. Huh? Yeah, that's bittul. That's complete bittul. The Friedrich Rebbe said, before he was Rebbe, he said, I have an advantage over all Chassidim. All the Chassidim are only Chassidim. But I'm also a Ben. And we have both milas. We learned if you're a king, you can't... king you don't love, king you fear. So it's either... He says, I have both things. Gerade in davening we say, Avinu Malkeinu. We say it every day, you say Tachna, Avinu Malkeinu. You say in Berchus Krishma, right? Avinu Malkeinu. Even though it's seemingly they're contradictory. If you're an Av, you can't be a Melech. A Melech can't be over his own kids. There's two relationships with Hashem. There's a mile of Ben, there's a mile of Melech, of Eved. So that's... Dabei bin ich in das Bit und mit sie ist legami. Heino begin is a stab, chesacheka via mamash podi. Crying out to the father. Li is ka'ayim v'efes mamash to be nothing. That's al zem ramazin yin ishtachava. That's the level of bowing of Shemon Esrei. Kamei mishtach v'lefnei hamelech. Shemevatel es atzmei. That you nullify yourself completely. Because when you think I deserve it, if a guy says to Hashem, I deserve it, then why should Hashem give it to you? Because he says, who says you deserve it? That means I don't deserve it, and therefore give it to me. Think about it. If a Jew comes to Hashem and says, God, I deserve it, we said many times, there's a pasuk, Abir Leiv. The Gemara says Abir Leiv refers to the tzaddikim, or the chaykim tzedakah. Abir Leiv means very strong-hearted, yeah? Tzaddikim don't ask Hashem for tzedakah. We daven l'cha Hashem at tzedakah. Okay? Why? We learned this in the past. If I work for you, and I work properly, and I ask you for my check, I'm not asking for tzedakah. I worked, I deserve it, now pay me. A tzaddik works for Hashem, does his job perfectly, now he says to Hashem, give me. We work and play games the whole day. We play computer games the whole day instead of doing the job Hashem gave us. So now when we come to Hashem, we say, hey God, I want Baruch Aleinu, Refa'enu, Seicha, I want all that. What are we asking? We're not asking, I deserve it, give it to me. And if a person has the attitude, I'm so great that I deserve it, then Hashem says, 1 minute. What do you mean you deserve it? Who says? That's the mile of davening with a minion. When there's a tzibur, the pasuk says, "Hein kel kabel lo yimas." Hashem never despises a community. Even the Rasha, Hashem listens to his prayers. We said the Moshe many times, you buy a case of apples. You don't look at every single apple. You look, generally speaking, the apples, it looks good. Yeah? You don't take every look at, when you buy 3 apples, then you look at each one individually, make sure it's good. Yeah? So when an individual davens, an ounce, $10. When you daven as an individual, Hashem says, who's calling? You're coming as an individual, I mean, look, you deserve it, you don't deserve it. Anybody who thinks they deserve it needs their heads examined. Tzaddikim deserve it, but they think they don't. We don't deserve it, we think we do. It's mamish. You know, tzaddikim deserve it, and they think they don't. We don't deserve it, and we think we do. See, that's the way it works. You don't know what they get, and you don't know what they did, and you don't know if it's miserable or not. You know how many people that won the lottery wish they didn't? Huh? Not the little ones. The real big ones, they all cursed the day they won it. I just saw somewhere, most people that win the big lotteries, in 5 years they have nothing left of it.
It's very true.